Okay, so a quick tutorial on bringing in JPEGs or external image files, cutting them up in Photoshop so you can use them as puppets, or if you want to scan in your own drawings and cut them up in to use them to animate with them in Adobe Animate. As you know, you can import JPEGs and external images in Adobe Animate, but you're stuck with this rectangular size of the image, and it would be nice to actually animate with shaped photographic or external components. So let me show you a quick way to do that. I'm just going to create a quick animate composition. Let's look up an image to animate. I don't even know what to animate. Oh, horrible. So you can, oh no, forget it, no. Let's animate somebody else. Okay, let's animate somebody noble. Okay, there we go. So you can, import any image you want, full body image. You could animate and cut up, import and cut up backgrounds. You can either copy image, that's the easiest way to get it imported. And then, or you can just import from, open it from wherever on your hard drive. I'm going to say, I copied the image, I'm going to say File, New, and then just hit Enter, and it will actually automatically create a document that is the size of the image you copied, of whatever is on your clipboard. So that's pretty easy to do. In Photoshop, if you haven't used it before, some of the tool set is similar. This top tool is for moving things around. All we're going to use is the lasso tool, or one of our lasso tools, and the select tool. I think we'll have enough here to use only these two, enough functionality to use just these two tools. If you're better at selecting things, if you know Photoshop, use whatever tools you want. We're going to separate parts of his face into different layers really quick. I'm just going to be really rough. I'm going to separate his eyes. What I did there, I selected it and then I cut, which is also here, and then I pasted. And then I can go to the select tool and just move them into position. And even if they're not in position, you can move them around later on. So I just want to get them on separate layers so I can move them independently. You'll see this layers menu over here. It should be on the right side. If you can't find it, it's over here in one of the windows. Layers, not menu, layers panel. Or they used to call it palette in Photoshop. I think they call it panel now. So you can see that this is on a separate layer. If you want to see what's on this layer, you can turn off the eyeball, which is appropriate. And so when we want to select other things that are on our first Bernie layer, we can select that layer. And in Photoshop, if you haven't used it before, you have to, by default, you have to have the layer selected in order to modify things on that layer. So here I have this selected. I'll go to Edit, Cut, Edit, Paste, and now it's on a third layer. And I can rename these if I want, or I can just wait until I get into Animate to do that. You can have an upper mouth and a lower mouth. You can do whatever you want here, play around. I do want the teeth. If you know Photoshop, no, I don't want that. I'm going to deselect. I'm going to get the whole lower jaw. That would be a better choice, I think. If I wanted to make him talking, I'm going to cut, paste, and then if I want to move his jaw to the right location, I go back to the select tool, and then I'm going to go back down to Bernie's main layer, get his upper mouth area. Who knows? I can cut his face up into as many pieces as I want. I can do this with the body too. Perhaps I should have chosen a whole body, and cut up his arms and legs and move them around independently. And maybe I'll just get the rest of his head now in this final layer. And I'll get upper head then lower head. Let's do that. Upper head, and I definitely want to cut off the background here. I don't want the background to come with us. Or I can just leave it on a background layer, because we don't want to be stuck ultimately with some kind of rectangular backdrop, if at all possible. So here I am, the top of his head, and then what do we have have here? We have the bottom of his face. I'm turning off this background layer, so I basically have his face selected. I'm missing his cheeks. And I have someone chatting me, forgive me for that. Get his cheeks in position to, oops. Here I am. And now I'm just gonna turn this off. And I can save as. We wanna do a save as, and we want it to just stay as the default native Photoshop document. And save to the desktop, whatever. Now I can go into animate, import to stage, import to library. Let's see, certain options come up. I haven't memorized what's going to happen here. It's different versions of the software. So when I import the PSD, it actually gives me options. What do you want to import? All the layers? I'm not going to import this. I'm not going to import the background. Just the pieces of the puppet. So I have certain options here. You can change it to, they can each go on their own layer. They can go on a single layer. They can go in separate keyframes. I just keep it as animate layers. This is going to be the most efficient way to actually approach these, to animate them independently of one another. So import. They're immediately going to come into here. I might have to resize all of them together. I'm just going to resize them. They're all selected currently, but you can see that they're all in different layers as they were in Photoshop. Now, since they're all selected, I could resize them. And I want Bernie talking. I can just, let's make them all 3 seconds in duration. Insert frame. I don't know why that one. Oh yeah, I missed one. Insert frame. And this one has nothing on it. So what I can do now, it's great. Now I can, let me zoom in a little more. Now I can go in here and turn each of them into a motion tween. And I can move it around, scale it around. And do whatever I do with any other object that I'm motion tweening. So it's animated. And I can make him talking, I can make him growing, moving around on the stage. You can do that with a full body photograph or anything you like. Did I get the mouth going? Here it is, okay. So I could just move this mouth around as much as I want. Actually, in the new version of the Adobe Animate software, I have even greater options for how I can distort external JPEGs and things. So yeah, his mouth is kind of moving, his eye is growing. You know, you can do anything you want with these. You can have them sail across the stage. You can even, I think you can you put styles on them? Let's see. I think you can do layer styles, maybe not, or these filters actually. I think I can add filters like drop shadows and things. I have to talk more about that. So you can have like drop shadows, you can put a glow on it. You get all these little bells and whistles to your animation. Okay, that's it. You can talk more about it in class. Feel free to ask about it via email or in class next week.